Zeus, the king of Olympus, wielded a power you can't even imagine, ruling over immortals and mortals alike. His wrath was feared across the cosmos. But as strong as Zeus was, some were foolish enough to challenge his title. Like the Titan Prometheus, who upon seeing the suffering of mankind, decided to gift them the knowledge of fire, a power Zeus had kept solely for the gods. Fire meant progress, warmth, and survival for humans. When Zeus learned of Prometheus's defiance, his rage knew no bounds. This wasn't just an act of kindness, it was a direct challenge to his rule. Zeus's retaliation was swift and brutal. He ordered the mighty blacksmith Hephaestus to craft unbreakable chains and commanded his minions to bind Prometheus to a desolate rock on the edge of the world. There, Zeus enacted a punishment so cruel it echoes through the ages. Every day, an eagle, a symbol of Zeus himself, would swoop down and devour Prometheus's liver. And every night, the liver would regenerate, only for the torment to begin anew the next day. This cycle of suffering continued for centuries. It wasn't until Hercules, another pawn in Zeus's grand schemes, intervened that Prometheus was finally freed. But the message was clear: defy Zeus, and you will suffer endlessly. Now, if this was not terrifying enough for you, Zeus's wrath didn't stop with the Titans. The giants, too, tasted his fury. After the great Titanomachy, there arose another threat, the Gigantomachy, a rebellion by the giants. Born from the blood of Uranus, these giants sought to overthrow the Olympian order. Zeus, with thunderbolts in hand, led the charge against the giants. After the rebellion was crushed, the giants, once a terrifying force, were buried deep beneath the earth, their spirits trapped for eternity. Zeus had proven that rebellion, no matter how mighty, would be met with relentless wrath. But Zeus's wrath wasn't reserved solely for grand battles. Even the smallest acts of defiance were crushed beneath his iron will, just like the tragic tale of Arachne, who was a mortal weaver of exceptional skill, so talented that she boasted she could weave better than Athena, the goddess of wisdom and crafts. This challenge, of course, reached the ears of the gods, and Zeus watched closely as the drama unfolded. Athena confronted Arachne, offering her a chance to repent, but Arachne, filled with pride, refused. The two engaged in a weaving contest, and while Arachne's work was flawless, it was laced with themes that mocked the gods. When Athena saw this, she was enraged. With Zeus's approval, Athena unleashed her divine wrath upon Arachne. In a fit of fury, she tore Arachne's work to shreds and transformed the mortal into a spider, doomed to weave for all eternity. Arachne's fate was a reminder. To challenge the gods, especially under Zeus's watchful eye, was to invite a cruel and lasting punishment. Yet, perhaps the most chilling story of Zeus's wrath involves his fellow god, Apollo. Yes, even the sun god was not beyond Zeus's anger. There came a time when Apollo, in a fit of pride, sought to overthrow Zeus himself. He conspired with Poseidon, Hera, and other gods, planning to bind Zeus and strip him of his power. The rebellion was audacious, but it was also reckless. Zeus, being omnipotent, was already aware of the scheme. He let the conspirators believe they had succeeded, only to break free from their bindings in a terrifying display of power. His eyes blazed with fury as he reached for his thunderbolt, but rather than strike them down immediately, Zeus chose a different path. He punished Apollo and Poseidon by stripping them of their divine status temporarily, and sent them to serve the mortal king, Laomedon of Troy. As mere laborers, they were tasked with building the great walls of Troy, a humiliating reminder of their failed rebellion. This punishment was twofold. Not only did it serve as a lesson to the rebellious gods, but it also sowed the seeds for future conflict. The walls they built would later become central to the legendary Trojan War, a grand event orchestrated in part by Zeus himself. In this way, Zeus's wrath extended beyond immediate retribution. It was a calculated force that shaped the very course of history. Zeus's punishments were not always loud and violent. Sometimes his wrath manifested in subtle calculated curses, as the fate of King Sisyphus, who dared to cheat death and trick the gods. Not once, but twice, Sisyphus outwitted the divine order, binding the personification of death and escaping the underworld. Zeus, however, was not amused. When Sisyphus was finally captured, Zeus crafted a punishment both eternal and maddening. He condemned Sisyphus to roll a massive boulder up a hill, only to watch it roll back down each time he neared the summit. This endless, futile labor became the ultimate symbol of hopeless struggle, a punishment designed to break the spirit. Now, while Zeus's wrath was legendary, there was a complexity to his punishments that made him both feared and respected. He wasn't just a god of blind fury, he was also a god of justice. One of the best examples of this is the tale of Tantalus. Tantalus was a mortal king who had the rare privilege of dining with the gods on Mount Olympus. But, consumed by arrogance and hubris, he decided to test the gods' omniscience. He served them a gruesome meal, the flesh of his own son Pelops. Zeus, of course, saw through this horrendous act instantly and was extremely furious, but his punishment for Tantalus was not quick but rather an eternal torment. In the afterlife, Tantalus was placed in a pool of water beneath a fruit tree with low-hanging branches. Whenever he reached for the fruit, the branches lifted just out of his grasp. Whenever he bent down to drink, the water receded, leaving him in a perpetual state of hunger and thirst. This punishment was crafted with meticulous irony, serving as a reminder that the gods were not to be deceived or mocked. One cannot discuss Zeus's wrath without mentioning Typhon. You can refer to him as the most fearsome creature in Greek mythology. Typhon's purpose was to overthrow Zeus and the Olympian order. The battle between Zeus and Typhon was cataclysmic. Thunder roared, and the earth trembled as Zeus unleashed his full might. Typhon, however, was no ordinary foe. He managed to overpower Zeus, ripping out his tendons and leaving him incapacitated. For a moment, it seemed that Zeus might actually fall. But through sheer will and the assistance of Hermes, Zeus regained his strength. He unleashed a barrage of thunderbolts, finally trapping Typhon beneath Mount Etna. To this day, legend holds that Typhon's rage causes the volcanic eruptions from the mountain. This battle was more than just a display of power. It was Zeus's assertion that no force, no matter how monstrous, could dethrone the king of gods. His wrath was not just about revenge, it was about maintaining order. Every rebellion crushed, every defiance punished, served as a warning to gods and mortals alike. Zeus was the king, the lawgiver, and the enforcer. His wrath was the thread that held the fabric of the universe together, ensuring that none could disturb the balance he created. So, the next time you gaze at a thunderstorm, remember, it is not just a natural phenomenon, it is a reminder of Zeus's might, a whisper of his enduring power, and a testament to the cost of defying the king of the gods.